From KPBS and PRX, this is Port of Entry, where we tell cross-border stories that connect us. I'm Alan Lilienthal. Maybe you're familiar with this guitar legend playing underneath me right now. You might recognize the fusion of Latin sounds with soaring electric guitar. This legendary Mexican guitar player got his start right here at the border in Tijuana. He came of age listening to the blues greats like B.B. King and T-Bone Walker, and then took that sound and went on to play for huge stadium-sized crowds in the 60s and 70s. He's one of the first guitar players to come out of Mexico to really revolutionize the sound of the electric guitar. But if you think that guitarist you just heard is this guitarist you're hearing now, you, my friend, are wrong. Because the famous electric guitar player I'm going to tell you about today is not Carlos Santana. It's actually the guy who helped Santana become the famous musician he is today.
Wanna play some Gregorian chants?
Blue style.
Yeah, Frank.
This is the one and only Javier Bátiz. He kept calling me Frank, by the way, because of my long curly black hair that he is convinced makes me look like Frank Zappa. Javier's hair, though, is way more epic and iconic and longer than mine for now. He rocks a glorious frizzy afro. His hair tops off his skinny jeans, his pointy leather rocker boots, his cool shirts, sometimes of himself, and his big silver necklaces with big pendants around his neck. Basically, he looks like a famous rock star. And in Mexico, he really is. A few weeks back, my producer Kinsee Morlan and I got to hear Javier play a few songs in his practice studio outside his house, which is just 6 blocks south of the US-Mexico border in downtown Tijuana. After he played us a few songs, he invited us into his living room. Then sat us down and pulled out a manila folder.
So I gotta show you, this is very important to me.
The folder was filled with old newspaper clippings, photos, show flyers, and other memorabilia from his nearly 7 decades as a rock star. The first thing Javier pulled out was a comic book written by Carlos Santana. Then he turned to the page where he himself makes an appearance.
Okay, so this is, if you can read here, it says, when I saw Javier Bátiz playing in La Plaza, him, and then he says, when I saw Javier Bátiz playing in La Plaza, all I wanted to do after I saw him was play like him. And in this book he says, I studied the sound of Javier Bátiz's guitar until I got it, and then I figured out my own sound, which is my sound. Anyway, he always says in this book and in every book that he writes, Javier Bátiz was the guy who started me, you know. And what does that leave me? Here in Tijuana, very poor.
What the hell, right? How did this musical legend, the man who inspired Carlos Santana, end up, as he says, poor in Tijuana? Today's story continues our new season of Port of Entry. It's a season about artists and musicians who've turned pain into superpowers. We'll get into Javier's border story right after a short break. Nos vemos muy pronto. Estamos de vuelta. So there's a popular narrative about Javier that attempts to explain his relative obscurity when compared to Carlos Santana. It essentially says that because Javier stayed in Mexico to make his music, instead of crossing the border to chase fame alongside his friend Carlos, he missed his big break. And as the story goes, now poor Javier is stuck in this black hole of obscurity. But that narrative, that Carlos Santana went north and found great success and fame, and Javier Bátiz went south and sunk into oblivion, it doesn't paint the full picture. The real story isn't so simple.
I'm doing about 5 or 6 interviews every day.
Wow. Oh my God.
Well, I'm Javier Bátiz. What do you expected? Right now, at this moment, a new record is coming out and it's on the radios. So, yeah. So, in about half an hour or an hour, I'm going to be again. I already did 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Got up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for squeezing us in.
Went to bed at 5.
Still a rock star. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Really, I swear to God.
Wow.
Yeah.
¿Qué día? Is this common?
Yeah, sure, because that's why I'm Javier Bátiz. You know, if you don't, you go the 100 miles and you still gotta go the 20 miles extra. You know, You get me?
So yeah, Javier Bátiz is pretty famous. In Mexico, he really, really is. I mean, he might not be a household name, but especially in certain circles, he is indeed a rock legend. If you ask musicians in the know, he's truly considered one of the fathers of Mexican rock and roll. And his nickname in Mexico is El Brujo del Rock, meaning warlock or wizard because of the incredible sorcery he pulls off when he has a guitar in his hand. Javier's got a wax sculpture of himself in Tijuana's famous wax museum. His face will soon be on a new Hollywood-like sign going up in the hills of Tijuana, and the city of Tijuana even named a street after him.
Where I live, I'm born in the house where I live, where we live.
Really?
Yeah. And I was born in that house, and that street goes up a hill, and that street is called La Rampa de Javier Bátiz, which means, you know.
Ah, the ramp.
Simón.
That's awesome.
You know what? The government they're gonna turn my house when I die. It's gonna take a long time. They're gonna turn my house into a museum for Javier Bátiz and some of his friends, the musician friends that he made famous.
But that said, Javier's fame, even in Mexico, has flickered on and off over the years. One minute, Javier says he feels like the most famous musician in Mexico. The next, he seems genuinely worried about being forgotten one day. That's partly why he's still working so hard.
So I don't stop working. If I stop working, I start to shrink. I'm 77 years old. I mean, come on.
This past summer, when Kinsee and I went to Javier's house, we both got a little lost, but eventually we found it.
I saw the huge sign. That's how we found it finally.
Javier's house is right there on his eponymous road, Rampa de Javier Bátiz. Impossible to miss because of the huge, colorful mural of him painted on the outside of his practice studio.
And I told the guys that gave me the street, you know, the presidente municipal and all that. And I told him, hey, man, you really messed it up. And he said, why, Javier? You didn't tell me where to put the toll booth.
Tax, the Javier Bátiz tax.
The Javier Bátiz tax for music education.
Nearly every Wednesday night for decades now, Javier has run a music school at his place.
This is really cool. I can tell why he's so happy.
Yeah?
It's like constant positive reinforcement of how cool the G is. He's a street. Couple kids come to learn music from him.
In this room, you think?
Probably.
Hola.
Hola. ¿Aquí es la clase? Sí. ¿Sí? Cool. ¿Ustedes toman la clase de guitarra?
Yo no más, ellos son sus nietos.
Oh, wow.
This is a school.
Sí.
From 7 to 9 is a school. I teach everybody how to play. Everybody and anybody. In any language, well, other than Spanish and English, no languages.
Perfect.
Okay.
And so the beat goes on.
Acá hay uno. ¿Puedo agarrar este?
So how does this night work? You just let anybody show up, or they plan in advance?
It starts off as a jam, and then the class comes in. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Perfect.
A couple of hours, no later than 9:30, and everybody gets to play. We have a lot of fun. Sometimes people bring tequila, which is accepted.
We forgot.
Yeah, yeah.
We would have known.
Now you know. Now you know.
Oh yeah. Me conectaste al piano, mijo.
Voy.
Oh,
How many students over the years have been in and out of this?
over 1,000 some.
Really?
Oh sure, 65 years. Are you kidding me?
Why is music important to pass on?
Because, believe it or not, I'm not being crazy, but even in the States, they don't play like us, So I am very interested in my legacy being that I stand here in Mexico being a good Mexican, teaching all these guys how to play, so that my legacy will keep on and on and on. The James Browns, the Ray Charles, the Bobby Blairs, the Little Richards, those guys are no longer with us, and nobody that can play that kind of music. But the music has to have a special place, and you shouldn't mess around with it. Don't mess around with music. It's gonna bite you in the ass. If you do. So music has to be what it is. And they say boogie is dead. Well, probably cha-cha-cha is dead. Well, maybe. And mambo is gone. Sure. Rock and roll is gone. Your mama is gone. No, rock and roll hasn't gone nowhere, man. It's here, not live. Yeah. So I'm taking good care of that. And a lot of groups in Mexico, sí, el Javier Bátiz, So here in Mexico, we're keeping the music. There are a lot of people out of my group and my teachers have become worldwide millionaires. Well, good for them. They don't owe me anything. They don't, because I don't charge for teaching.
You don't charge.
I don't charge. Who wanna pay me? Oh, thank you. Who can't pay me? It's the same. And right now I have a little kid, 13 years old, and he plays like me now. Man, he's great. And so I'm very happy what I do, very happy who I am, very happy with my wife, with my kids. And that's about it.
So over the years, Javier has helped hundreds of musicians in Mexico learn how to play electric guitar, including, back in the 50s and 60s, Carlos Santana. But Javier says no one really taught him how to play. He says his mom showed him how to play his first 4 chords, but beyond that, he says his ability to play music is a gift from above.
I learned from God. God gave me a talent, a special talent. He showed me how to play the guitar and sing, and then he showed me how to teach the other people, share my knowledge. So I am very grateful, very blessed, you know.
Do you remember the first time you picked up a guitar? Do you have a memory of that?
I don't remember yesterday, so don't ask me anything. Yeah, and so I remember when I started asking, as a little itsy bitsy kid, asking for some instruments because I wanted to sing, because I came here to sing. And so I got saxophones and flutes and drums and pianos and guitars and basses, and you know, by 10 I was playing everything.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
But the guitar had a special...
Guitar, I tell you what, by 10 I was playing and singing and everything. Jorge Negrete and Pedro Infante's music, you know. Sure, me de comer de esa tuna.
Me de comer esa tuna, me de comer esa tuna, me de comer esa tuna.
It was around this time that Javier had a real light bulb moment when it came to his future musical career. He was about 10 years old when he remembers his mom calling from her bedroom. It was late at night, and she wanted Javier to turn off the radio that someone had left on.
So I got out of my bed and went to the living room to turn off the radio. And then I got a little baby.
I love my baby.
Ay, what is this? The blues, T-Bone Walker.
Yes, I love my baby.
Then I turned it really, really down, and I put my head to the speaker, and my mama, do you turn it up? Yeah, ma, you know.
I'm gonna change my way of living, baby.
This was 1958, and black music wasn't played on the radio in the States. But at 10 o'clock at night, the Mexican radio used to go off, and on the Mexican radio, they used to broadcast all this beautiful, beautiful music. And so every night, I used to turn on the radio. T-Bone Walker was the first guitarist and blues singer that I heard.
Yes, I love you.
And then Elmore James.
I'm getting up soon in the morning. I believe I dust my room.
And then Sonny Boy Williams.
You got to help me, baby. I can't do it all by myself.
B.B. King.
You a real wild man, woman.
John Lee Hooker.
One bourbon, one scotch, and one bill.
Jimmy Reed. And Muddy Waters.
You know you change your mind. You know I won't go on. No, I ain't going.
Javier was hooked. He wanted to listen to the blues all day, every day, and not just wait around for the late night radio show. So he started crossing the border to buy records at a vinyl shop in downtown San Diego.
I started getting my Elmore James, you know, Robert Johnson, all the beautiful blues musicians. And so I started singing that music here on the radio. And by that time, it was really easy because there were only 3 chords to the songs. The blues, you know, 3 chords. Es como el corrido, 2 chords to the corrido, no? So to the blues, 3 chords. Then I started learning. I speak English. I started learning the words up to the music, but they're really simple. It's too sad to be alone. so inconvenient to be alone. You know?
So sad to be lonesome. Too much inconvenient to be alone.
By the age of 12, Javier started a band called the TJs.
Baby, 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 ven conmigo. Vamos a bailar. Que tenemos ritmo, que está todo dar. Porque sentí despacio que te voy a enseñar.
And so I was very famous with the TJs, and I started, working on the very nice places with the weddings and the quinceañeras and all that stuff. And I played like I play right now, man, because it was a God's gift, a gift from God. The way I play, it's not easy to find somebody the way I play.
He just immediately came through you, like it was.
Immediately, man, And so I got, really famous, and then we used to go to the Battle of the Bands in San Diego against the Rhythmaires and the guys from over there who were really, really good, and we used to win all the battles. We were really good.
One day, Javier and the TJs were playing a gig at a park in downtown Tijuana. And that's when Javier met a kid named Carlos Santana.
I used to play with the TJs at 12 o'clock at Sunday afternoons, 12 o'clock, at the daytime. And we used to pack the place free, listening to the little kids playing the guitar like mothers would do it. And and then Carlos' mother saw me play and went to pick up her kid. She brought him. He said, the first time I heard Javier Bátiz how to play, I got the way he played and studied and made a sound from his music to my music. I mean, he's saying that he got my music to play his music. But when you hear him, you hear me. But when you hear me, you hear him. And I mean, come on. We were friends every day for 5 years, from 58 to 63.
Javier says he and Carlos were like brothers for those 5 years. And most of the time, they were playing music together, often for audiences filled with people from the military in San Diego. Tijuana was the place to go for good live blues music back then.
Mashed potatoes, yeah.
We used to pack up the place. I mean, people came, so the Marines, the Navy, the Army, the Navy SEALs, everybody is still there in San Diego, right? And so they didn't have any place to go to hear or see or play. So everybody came from over there to hear us play and to dance with the women. They danced a lot. Yeah, good dancers. So in about a month, all the Revolution Street was only rock and roll. 2, 3, 4, 5 groups every day. And you know what? Tijuana, those times, it was beautiful time. Tijuana didn't close. It was 24 hours. It was beautiful. You could leave your bicycles outside, your car open. It was something else. It was a little bit like heaven if it was, to be really rock and roll. And,
Rock and roll heaven.
Rock and roll heaven, yes. And so we became very famous.
People in the music industry started noticing this little band from Tijuana that could pull big crowds. Javier says he got scouted by a bigwig music producer from Mexico City.
And so some guys from Mexico came and they discovered me, you know. By then I was 15 and I came to Mexico at 17, and when I got there I became instantly the most famous star in Mexico.
Around the same time, Carlos Santana's family moved north of the border to San Francisco. And both Javier and Carlos hit the ground running. Carlos started on his path to fame. And Javier became a big star in Mexico City.
Javier Bátiz. Mira quién está, mira quién está.
Well, Papa, doing the trick. Papa, he's doing
And so when I became really famous, well, I did all the 32 movies. I have done over 50 records, 50 albums.
just like a boomerang.
Javier says he and Carlos stayed in touch during his time in Mexico City. And he says Carlos and other musician friends of his were always trying to convince him to join them north of the border, in the US. But Javier dug in his heels.
All these beautiful people in the States that were calling me, Javier, come over here and play. And no, I'm staying in Mexico because I'm working with my idols. In Mexico, my life was get up, interviews, programs, radio, TV, and then go to bed at 4 o'clock because there was a party here, a party there, a party there. I had to go to those. I'm not complaining, but I was getting very tired of it, you know? And so, because being famous is not like being famous. Being famous is a hassle, man. It's, oh yeah.
Being famous became an even bigger hassle when the Mexican government, which from the 60s through the 80s was sort of this conservative extension of the Catholic Church, became increasingly nervous about the rock and roll culture spreading across the country. Javier says government officials were concerned about his growing influence.
People have always been scared of me. I mean, just look at me, man. But no, the government was really scared of me.
The rock and roll scene was forced underground, and it was a rough few decades. Javier says he and other rock musicians in Mexico who were seen as a threat to society lost everything. He says the government forced him to shut down his coffee shop, his nightclub, and other businesses in Mexico City that he'd built up. So in 1994, he got fed up. And when his mom passed away, he decided to move back to Tijuana.
We came to say goodbye to my mama, and it was really sad, you know, because my mama was my friend, and she was my confidant, you know, and she brought me up, no?
Javier stayed in Tijuana after that. So how did he keep his career alive, even though he was now living far away from the cultural enclave of Mexico City, way off the beaten musical path? We'll get to it right after a quick break. Quédate con nosotros. Y ya estamos de vuelta. So Javier Bátiz was able to keep his musical career going, even though he was now based in Tijuana, which back in the 90s didn't have the music scene and opportunities it does today. He did this in part by taking his show on the road. He says one of the most memorable tours was through Italy.
We traveled from my house to Italy. You know, the whole boot, la bota completa. We started in Milan, and then from Cesena, and then Rome, and then a little other city, and then Naples.
Javier says he doesn't regret leaving Mexico City behind. He doesn't miss it. But he does miss one thing, though.
The applause. If something I missed about not being in Mexico is the applause. Because here in Tijuana, I get good applause from 100 people, 200 people, you know. Every time I call all my friends in Tijuana, both of them are there, you know. And, but in Mexico, I get 10,000 people, you know, 20,000 people. And when you hear that applause, you go, ah.
Javier Bátiz.
And so I miss, of course, the applause, because if I don't live about real big money, which I do get money, but not real big. I live about because of the applause. Es lo más grande, sí, es lo más grande que te puede dar fuerza para seguir adelante. Sí, that's it. And concerts and concerts and concerts.
The truth is, had Javier stayed in Mexico City instead of moving back to Tijuana, or gone to San Francisco alongside Carlos, maybe he would be more well-known on both sides of the border. But his family, his wife Claudia, his 5 kids, and especially his faith in God, made him feel rich and full and no longer interested in chasing fame the way he did when he was younger. And because of that, he may not be rich when it comes to money, but he says he feels rich in the ways that matter most to him.
I haven't stopped working, and I don't know anything else to do. I sing, I get paid, I go home. That's what I do. Out of my band have come out worldwide known musicians like Fito de la Parra, Tony de la Barrera, you know, Olaf, from Ike Turner and the Monkees, Marcos Mendoza, you know, Carlos Santana, all these guys, really famous guys, you know, worldwide. I am not seeking or searching for that. I am very grateful and glad and really humbled by the level that I'm living in, like a really poor musician. I've been so rich, I mean, really, you know. But right now, no, I play, I get my money, and that's what we have, you know. Pero tengo a mi hija, a mis nietos, a mi esposa. Oh, God. It gets my heart because there's nothing better than that. There's no money that can pay that, you know. I'm going to buy you a wife, a daughter. No money, nothing can buy that. I have it. And it's beautiful, and that's it.
Did it take you a while to learn that? Because like I'm a musician too, and I think like the older I get, the more I realize that these things that we're told that we want from music, like big fame and music and all that stuff, is like no. There's like things that really feel like family, like you said. Did it take you?
I tasted all the fames, all the monies, you know, millions, and when you start living with the people that have money, you understand that if you have feelings. You understand that those people don't have feelings, don't have heart, don't have thoughts, don't have humanity, they're not humble, they're arrogant and despotic. No, they're bien déspotas. Why? Money can't buy you what you are. It can buy you stuff, you know, guitars, good guitars, and but don't buy you inner peace, you know?
When Javier thinks about the immense fame and fortune his friend Carlos Santana has found, he says he's not jealous, just proud.
We still are brothers, but he lives in Dubai and I live here in Tecate.
Dubai,
No, he lives in Las Vegas. He lives in an $8.5 million house he constructed for himself. So I think he has money. Yeah.
Every now and then, Javier says Carlos will call him up to talk about how he feels a little guilty about how things have turned out for Javier.
Me habló Javier. Le dije, ¿qué pasó, cabrón? ¿Qué pasó? Tú deberías de estar aquí, me dijo. You should be here, not me, me dijo. Carlos, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. He called me and, I mean, those kind of things, you know, I get him, I embrace him, and I don't talk about him too much, you know. You're an important guy. You see? That's what I mean. Yeah, I'm an important guy. Yes.
gotta be proud of who you are.
Oh, yeah. But I'm famous. I'm famous. Is that what you want to be famous? I'm famous. No?
Yeah, you have your own street.
I'm famous. I got my own street.
Yeah. Not many people can say that.
There is something that has started really hurting Javier's feelings, though, especially given how much he loves his city of Tijuana. The first time we met with Javier, he was literally wearing a shirt that said, "I love Tijuana." But sometimes he feels like the city is forgetting to love him back. Like, for example, a few months back, the city held an anniversary concert and Javier wasn't on the lineup.
It's something that's pitiful to me, painful, that even the guys from Tijuana don't know what I do, man. I hate it because I'm here and I can play anywhere they want me to play and they don't take me. No, what I mean is, if I'm here, why don't they call us, you know, with my group and everything, my singers, my dancers, my horn players, I mean, God, you know?
Back at Javier's house, which, by the way, feels like a museum of himself with photos and band posters and other musical memorabilia plastering all the walls, the music school transformed into a practice session for Javier and his current band. And Kinsee and I got a taste of what it's like, not only to hear this living legend play guitar and sing, but also to hear his stories and feel the joy he radiates when he's making music.
Okay, we're gonna play some instrumentals right now. I want you to listen to some of my compositions, because I compose very well. Qué tristeza de vato. This one, I wrote this one for a girl. They used to take care of Carlos and me in a convoy club where we used to work. And her name was Flor. And so I wrote a song about her because she was so good to us, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Frank, I got some pictures inside. I'm gonna see if we can find them to show you. Okay? That'll be $10. And
Right before we left Javier, he pulled out an 8x10 black and white photo of him sitting at a table with several famous musicians, including Carlos Santana.
all these guys are gone now. They're dead. They're dying. And it's only me and Carlos. So for the music, I've done everything and anything, you know, because a lot of idiot people, especially here in my country, they try to take down whatever I have built up. But it's not easy, and they're not gonna get nowhere because I got a street. You know, it's not funny, and I didn't do that. The people that know did it, you know. So I'm not playing in al aire, you know, and throwing punches in the air. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and with all my love. What else? Huh?
Port of Entry is written and produced by Kinsee Morlan. Emily Jankowski is the co-producer and director of sound design. Alisa Barba is our editor. Lisa Morrisette is operations manager, and John Decker is the interim associate general manager of content. I'm your host, Alan Iliatal. This program is made possible in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people. Thank you for listening. And hey, if you like this episode and you want to help keep this show going, become a KPBS member today. Go to kpbs.org and click on the blue Give Now button. Thank you.